Okay, when you have the tenon part of your mortise and tenon marked out, you're ready for cutting it. In order to cut it, you need, or to create the whole join, you need 4 tools probably. You need a bench hook. That's going to help you get an accurate cut. If you're right-handed, gap on the right-hand side. If you're left-handed, you can flip it and set it up left-handed. I'm a right-hander, so we'll have it in the vise like that. Job number... Could you leave room, please? Whoever's talking. Job number 1 is to put in a cut line along this 15mm line that we made, but that cut line does not go very deep. That cut line just stops here at the 3mm line that we put in. It is not going to go all the way across because we're not cutting the whole thing off. Okay, it does matter. In fact, it's probably the line in the project that matters the most on the whole project. All right, for quality and for accuracy, and I'll show you why when it's done. Take the tenon saw. We have in here 2 choices. Yellow handles are rough cut. All right, I'm not going to choose that one. I'm going to choose the one we all consider to be a bit blunt. The fine-toothed one is going to make a much better cut. This one is going to rip the grain and look ugly. All right, its job is to do a little bit more than this. This is going to give a finer cut. To get it accurate, I tend to just break the grain on the corner, whether you choose to pull it towards you or move it away. When I've got that wood grain broken, I'm going to move the saw backwards and forwards. Might move that out of the way. I'm going to move the saw backwards and forwards as I lower the back of the blade on that line. Right, so I'm moving backwards and forwards, and as I go, I'm slowly lowering the angle. See that on the side for those of you that can't see. As I cut, I'm slowly lowering the angle. What that does is allow me to stay in the groove without skidding across the face of the wood. If you skid across the face of the wood, you are causing yourself quite a lot of trouble later on, because you're going to have to choose to hide that, and your tenon's only going to fit one way round. Right, you might get away with a little bit of it on your first 1 or 2, but to stop it, just stay in that groove and change the angle as you go. It takes a little bit of patience not to sit the saw straight on the face and ram it forwards. Okay, it takes a little bit of patience, so some of you will find that harder than others. Right, but I'm going to go for accuracy on my one, and my one is going to be your quality control. A lot of people saw downhill like that. If that's you, you're going to have to keep looking over and check that 3mm line, because you don't want to go deeper than that. Right, don't want to go deeper than that. I definitely want to go as deep as that. Right, then I'll flip it and do the same on the other side. I quite like to drag it to start that wood grain. It's essential that you have that cut in the same place on both sides. Okay, so we're working to the outside of the line. So I've put the edge of the saw on the line, not the base of the saw on the line. I'm slightly over, and I'm going to cut that down 3mm as well. Now I have 2 3mm deep cuts on the face that are exactly opposite each other. Okay, that's what I have. Next, I'm going to lose the bench block. I don't need that at this stage. I'm going to sit it in the vise. And I'm going to cut down to my next stop line, which is that 10mm line. And join those up. And this is another essential one for accuracy. If you rush in this, you're causing yourself hours of extra work, okay? So go for accuracy. Incidentally, a decent cut is a long cut, okay? Not a little, small little cut. And now I can damage that because I'm going to get rid of it in a minute, okay? Now those 2 cuts have a purpose, and their purpose is to stop the next event, and the next event's happening with the chisel. Okay, and if you held this up to the light, you would see that there's a big gap there, and it works a little bit like a fire break. Okay, it's taking away the wood, is putting a stopper in so that the wood can't split when I come along and chisel it. All right, and I'm going to chisel that corner off, holding the chisel on the flat side in. So I've got the flat side there, and give it a tap, and I want to take the corner off as far as that shoulder. All right, and I don't actually even need to hit it as far as that shoulder because there's already a gap there that I just cut with the saw. When I get near to my line that I drew on with the tri-square, I'm going to go a little bit gentler and make sure that that is absolutely exactly on that line and nowhere else. Make sure it goes down vertical. I've seen some people angle them in like that. You will lose stability in the join. I've seen some people angle them out like that. It won't fit in the mortise. Okay, so you'll do that to both shoulders. I might as well do both now. I'm not at this stage reviewing chisel safety tips because I'm assuming at year 11, having worked with these since year 7, you know them. Right? I'm assuming, oh, I didn't put in that shoulder, did I? Oh, I did put in that shoulder. Alright, next. I'm going to come and use a chisel exactly the same way on that 3mm line down there. Here is a safety tip. Do not do this one. Why not? The chisel slips, it's going straight into the femoral artery. That is very bad. Okay, so use the offside because if it slips there, it's going into the wooden desk. That's also a bit bad. We shouldn't really be slipping. It's going to damage the tip of the chisel, okay, and the desk. But if you're tapping, as you should be, instead of whacking, then it'll be fine because we've got a piece of stopper in there. And you're going to do that all the way up to your perfect line, and you're going to end up, when you're done, with the tenon part of a mortise and tenon join. And I'll show you how they connect when someone's made a tenon. There is enough work there for several periods for most of you because you've got 8 of them to do. What I'm doing here is just starting the chisel on an angle and bending it down to shave. You'll notice I haven't got my fingers underneath the chisel, and you'll notice I'm shaving to get all the way up to the pencil line. Okay, that at this stage is done enough. A later stage, well, that should have had a slightly better tenon saw cut, but at a later stage we'll come along and we'll actually perfect these, but we're not going to do it now because we're going to custom fit them to each one of the holes in your legs. Okay, so there's no need to fine tune them and custom fit them now till we've got somewhere for them to go. A completed tenon join will look like that when both of these sides are done. What happens when you're chiseling if you try to take too much off at once and get greedy? You're going to have to hit it too hard and then you lack control. It's either going to split or hurt you or hurt someone else. Okay, so don't get greedy. And if we'd finished that one up, when we've finished up that line, that is a finished tenon join.